Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, news, lifestyle, everything really, depending on the guest. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. Returning guest here on Popternative, you'll recognize my guest as Gerald in CBC Gems, and Netflix's Kim's Convenience. Ben Beauchemin is back with us. Ben, welcome back to Popternative.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, last time you came on, season 4 was on CBC, so people in Canada kind of saw it, but it wasn't on Netflix yet. So,
right, we couldn't go through any spoilers or anything like that.
No, I mean, Gerald's making some moves. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, huge moves, big moves.
How are you doing, man? How are things on your end?
Things are all right. I mean, it's strange because of the pandemic, obviously, and I miss just drinking in a bar with my friends, and I miss seeing people. Of course, but as far as things go, I feel like my situation's all right. I live with my girlfriend and my dog, and we have a good time, so I'm not complaining.
Absolutely. Season 5 for people in Canada is around the corner for Kim's Convenience. We're really excited about that.
January 19th.
I mean, calm before the storm a little bit for you in the cast.
I guess so, yeah, but I'm not too active on social media anymore these days, so I don't really notice it that much. When I had a Twitter account and stuff, I would get a lot more inundated when the show came on. You could tell every Thursday night it was my phone would sort of blow up. So I don't really think that's going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But I am super excited to see what the episodes look like. We watched one episode so far at the wrap at the end of the final day, and it looked great. And I'm really, really excited for the rest.
Absolutely. Do you think people don't realize sometimes, because there are still a lot of shows, right? All the episodes for season 5 have been shot, correct?
Yeah.
Sometimes, though, that's not the case, right? Some people might do 6 in a row, then do another, right? It depends on the production a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that that's a thing sometimes too? Because I find there's other shows, people from other shows I've interviewed where, they go and they film a few episodes and then they take a 1 or 2 week break and then they come back and film other episodes.
Yeah. I mean, every show usually has a hiatus sometimes in the middle of it, which is about a week or so.
Did you guys have that?
We had the same thing too. We did because Simu was shooting his Marvel movie in Australia. And so we had about a week when he came back so that he could, go through quarantine and do all that procedure. And then they had about a week of shooting just Simu scenes. So all the ones that he missed from the first half.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So yeah, he was a very busy guy.
So the planning of the filming was strategic, basically having to work, making sure he got in. Oh man,
definitely, yeah. And the production team and Simu, they did a great job at coordinating all that and getting it all done too.
But I remember that's one of the reasons why I think I don't pay attention to social media a lot, because there's a lot of assumptions on social media and a lot of news gets kind of traveled, as we know. And I remember when they announced that Marvel movie for Simu, right? Right away, not the day it was announced, everyone's oh, he's probably leaving Kim's. Oh, he's not going to be in Kim's. Jung has gone in Kim's. Flooded with immediately he's done with Kim's. No more Jung. And I was just oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Which was crazy, but
no, he came back. He
came back. He shot
right,
back.
Yeah.
No, I mean he's part of the show. I mean I think it happens sometimes where schedules kind of get in the way. It sounds like he made it work because Jung is such an important part of Kim's Convenience. You gotta have Jung in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's still there's starting to be more interactions between Gerald and Jung. There wasn't a lot in the beginning.
We usually get 1 or 2 episodes a season where we get to do stuff. There was that season, I think the last season, where he stayed at our apartment for a bit.
Yeah.
And then there was one where like we all went out to brunch together. So we don't get too much crossover, but they usually just give us like a few scenes for, me to be very awkward around and him to be super cool, and they play off that
Absolutely.
dynamic.
I mean, this is obviously like a question for like the producers and the writers more than anything. Not really a question, more like we can't really comment on it. Yeah. But it's just like, I wonder if we're going to one day see the Handy Kim's convenience store crossover, because they're very separate, but I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to see Handy go in the store. I want to see a visit from Janet's parents going to see Handy. Like I want that to happen.
Okay, well, I'll write a spec script for it and I will pitch it to them.
But it's like two different shows, right?
All the shares in Handy and
it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, though, that it's like one could make an argument. It's almost like two shows, because those worlds don't really cross over at all.
Oh yeah, totally. There's and we joke about that on set sometimes too. Like it feels like there's like the family sitcom and then the work sitcom.
Yeah.
But it's nice because you get such a variety of comedy and like also like dramatic issues too, that like you can just, there's a lot for the writers to play with, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? Now that I think about it, you sold me. Like, let's keep them separate. It's good that they're separate.
We'll do one episode where they cross over. I'll pick it. I'll do my best.
But it's just like, okay, so Gerald is in a little bit of a situation right now. He is a little bit of a triangle going on here. We don't like, totally. What was that kind of, so what was like Ben Beauchemin's reaction when he found out that was kind of what was going on with Gerald? Like when you read the script, like what was that like for you?
I remember, I didn't read it in the script. I remember the showrunner Inns came and I was on set and then I just got a message being like, oh, Inns wants to come and talk to you. Is that all right? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he came into the dressing room and he just explained, he's like, okay, so for the last episode, we're shaking things up. And he's like, basically, Gerald and Chelsea are going to go to Korea. Janet's going to go to Tanzania. And before that happens, Janet and Gerald kiss. And we don't know what happens after that.
Oh.
And I went, okay. And he said, you're going to read it. It's going to be surprising. We still want to have you back. And you're still going to be a part of the show. But we really don't know where the chips are going to fall after this. And so it was really like, I thought it was exciting. And I was really happy that, like, I love when shows, change dynamics and stuff like that. And I thought it was a really cool opportunity to do so. But yeah, it was kind of nerve wracking. So I'm like, I don't know if next season I'm going to be in, Korea half the time and just Skyping them back. Like that was floated as a possibility. So yeah, that was the reaction. Just surprise, excitement, and nervous.
I feel like that's the hardest part of an actor, where you shot something that's coming out and like people are like wondering what is happening, and you guys know what happens, but you can't say anything at all.
Yeah. And I can't say anything past that point. You guys gotta watch it.
But I just feel like, did you find, like, that comes with the territory, obviously, because you're shooting and then it comes out and everything, but it's like, is that difficult for you, do you find, or do you gotta get used to it? Because you've been doing this for a good amount of time.
Like not saying spoilers and stuff?
Yeah, like spoilers and stuff. I mean, because I feel like it would be, it's hard to keep it under wraps. I look at like Cobra Kai right now, right? And they're like, people, like, there's a lot of spoilers coming out that they're filming season 4, and no one wanted that to be told. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I mean, I imagine something like that, it's harder to hide that you're shooting a full season.
Yeah.
But as far as giving away spoilers, like, no, I mean, I've never really had the urge to just go like sing it out to the world. So it's never really been too much of an issue for me personally. But
I mean, it really is up in the air, like what's happening with Gerald. Like I think that's like I'm
excited to see. I'm excited to. Well, I know how it gets resolved, obviously, but I'm excited to see the reaction to it for sure.
Absolutely. We talked about it last time you were on as well. The
Mhm.
global kind of fan base of Kim's Convenience is just amazing, literally out of this
Mm.
world. Like it's just incredible the support.
Oh yeah, it's really really wonderful.
Like so many countries are able to watch the show. It's just great to see.
Hmm.
It's so great to see. What was kind of your first kind of reaction or taste to kind of the international kind of reception of Kim's Convenience? When did you kind of realize, like, wow, we are getting a lot of love in other countries, not just Canada? Was it kind of when it first went on Netflix and you're getting messages? When did you kind of first notice that?
It was Netflix for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, because like it was doing really well in Canada, and CBC did like and still does a great job of promoting it and showing it. But when it went on Netflix, it opened up to, yeah, like you said, the international market. And I noticed because like the day it went on Netflix, and I remember talking about this with the other cast and stuff like that, like the numbers of people following us on social media just like shot right up and got like started getting like way more messages and stuff like that. And I think, I don't know the numbers or whatever for Netflix, but it seems to do quite well on there too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So that's sort of been my interaction with it.
And I believe, because Sujif, I recently did an interview with Sujif as well, who plays Mr. Mehta. It is available also, because it's like available CBC, CBC Gem, Netflix, but is it also available or was available on Amazon at all?
I don't think so,
Okay.
but I don't know.
Okay. Because I think he was saying something about that. I was kind of surprised. Yeah,
Mhm.
he definitely said that in certain countries it's available on Amazon,
Oh,
which I
yeah,
thought,
I mean, it
yeah, which
totally
I thought,
could be,
yeah. But that too like blows my mind, right? Because in Canada, right, we don't have Hulu, right, Ben? So that's kind of an interesting one for us, where we don't have Hulu in Canada. So sometimes Hulu shows have to go on like Amazon Prime, or there's some Hulu shows that are on CBC Gem, which I find
Mhm.
interesting as well. So it's just hard, but it's just great to see so many shows, so many people are able to kind of access Kim's Convenience now on a global
Oh,
stage.
yeah, it's great, and it's totally different than if we had been shooting a Canadian sitcom, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, even. Like the fact that it can reach these international markets without having to get some huge deal on like ABC or NBC or something like that really, really opens up the possibility for these sort of shows from smaller countries.
Absolutely. And like it's pretty cool because yourself and the rest of the Kim's Convenience cast, you are right now, you are like part of like the Netflix family, so to speak. Your show is being able to be watched on Netflix. I mean, Netflix is a powerhouse platform. I mean, simple
Mhm.
question, how does it feel to be part of the Netflix family in a little bit of a way?
This is the first I've heard about it, and so far it feels all right.
It's really, really cool. Well, Ben,
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking some time and coming back on Popternative. I really
Oh, of
appreciate
course.
it.
Thanks for having me, Peter.
Absolutely. So, we're waiting to see what's going on in season 5. I mean, it's coming out soon on CBC, so we're all excited to see it. And then
Oh, I'm
eventually,
excited for you guys to see it too.
it will make its rounds internationally, and
Yes.
people will be able to watch it. So
Mhm.
that's going to be awesome. Where can people follow you on Instagram and social
Um,
media?
I have Instagram at Ben Bosch. I don't have Twitter anymore, and yeah, that's about it. I don't post too much, but if you want to go look at old pictures of me, go nuts.
You do the stand-up comedy thing too, eh? You dabble, you dabble in that as well.
Yes, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Do you? I mean, that's you brought it up at the beginning of the show about like missing going to bars and stuff. I mean, do you
Mhm.
miss doing the stand-up comedy too? That must be tough too.
Yeah, it's been strange. I've done like it wasn't a stand up show, but I did a comedy show on Zoom, and it was sketch, and it wasn't the same. I was still happy to do it, and the people I did it with were really great, but it felt weird without that laughter, you know?
Well, it's weird because
Like it's not as good watching someone type "ha ha" into a
well,
screen.
like, because I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I've always been, right? And just
Mhm.
seeing them perform with the empty crowds or the limited crowds and everything, it's not the same, man. Like it's not the same at all. For
Yeah.
hockey, it didn't bother me as much. Like I didn't notice it as
Sports,
much.
I find with sports, they're doing a pretty good job at masking it.
Yeah,
But are you a Raptors fan?
I am. Yes.
So watching those games is so hard because they're playing at home and they have like a limited crowd, but you can hear them getting booed by their own crowd. It's really heartbreaking.
It's
I feel like
weird.
that's where I notice it the most.
Hmm.
like their game against Boston, they were like, the crowd is cheering. They wanted Taco Fall to go play. And it's like, oh man, this is supposed to be their home arena. Like, that's got to be really, really hard.
That is really interesting. I mean, the NHL kind of starts. I mean, the World Juniors, I mean, they did it in the bubble in Edmonton for hockey, and it was kind of like they didn't have crowds, but they had like, they were actually like playing like sound clips of like crowds.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting and a little weird at first as well, too.
Yeah, well, that's what they do with with a lot of, excuse me. Yeah, that's what they've been doing with a lot of the sports stuff. Yeah. And I find like, I thought it would be weird, but when you watch it, it's just sort of, I don't know. I find I don't even notice it anymore.
The thing about the pandemic too is how, because I mean, it all started, in March and April and everything. And I remember, like February, beginning of March, like there were big events still happening. There were games happening and everything. And it just blew my mind how quick and just boom, next week, all the restrictions came in. Like it still boggles my mind.
Yeah, I remember my girlfriend and I were going to go see Blood Orange at, I think, the Danforth Music Hall. And we had tickets. And then like just the few days before, it was like, I remember like it was ramping up where cases were going up and up and up and up. And then it was just like everything started shutting down.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a hockey game like a week and a half before everything shut down. Like I went to a NHL hockey game.
One of the last ones, probably.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, yeah, it's weird. But seriously, again, thank you so much for doing this. And
thanks for having me, man.
I'm just really happy, like as a Canadian, born and raised, I'm just really happy to see like a show like Kim's Convenience, like just getting the love internationally. Like that's like my favorite part. Like I love it so much,
really
man.
Great. Yeah.
It's really, because we know how hard it is, growing up in Canada, how hard it is to get our stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like I used to watch a lot of shows back in the day, and it didn't kind of go across the border. Like it just stayed in kind of Canada, YTV and everything. Like now it's just more people could check it out. I love it. It puts Canada on the map for content, which is amazing. So
yeah.
I'm really happy with that. Well, yeah, man. Thank you so much. Well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Season 5 is right around the corner for Kim's Convenience in Canada. And until next time, this has been Beauchemin and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.